Ibrahim was the Sultan of the Ottoman Empire from 1640 until 1648. He was born in Istanbul, the son of Ahmed I by Valide Kösem Sultan, an ethnic Greek originally named Anastasia. He was later called Ibrahim the Mad by 20th-century historians due to his reputed mental condition, probably psychoneurosis. Early years in power. One of the most notorious Ottoman sultans, Ibrahim spent all of his early life in the close confinement of the cafes before succeeding his brother Murad IV in 1640. 4 of his brothers had been executed by Murad, and Ibrahim lived in terror of being the next to die. His life was only saved by the intercession of Kösem Sultan, mother of Ibrahim and Murad. After Murad's death, Ibrahim was left the sole surviving prince of the dynasty. Upon being asked by Grand Vizier Kemanx Kara Mustafa Pasha to assume the sultanate, Ibrahim suspected Murad was still alive and plotting to trap him. It took the combined persuasion of Kösem and the Grand Vizier, and personal examination of his brother's dead body, to make Ibrahim accept the throne. Ara Mustafa Pasha remained as Grand Vizier during the first 4 years of Ibrahim's reign, keeping the empire stable. With the Treaty of Zon he renewed peace with Austria and during the same year recovered Azov from the Cossacks. Ara Mustafa also stabilized the currency with coinage reform, sought to stabilize the economy with a new land survey. During these years, Ibrahim showed concern with properly ruling the empire, as shown in his handwritten communications with the Grand Vizier. Ara Mustafa in turn wrote a memo on public affairs to coach his inexperienced master. Ibrahim's replies to Ara Mustafa's reports show he had actually received a good education. Ibrahim often traveled in disguise, inspecting the markets of Istanbul and ordering the Grand Vizier to correct any problems he observed. Decadence and crisis. Ibrahim was often distracted by recurring headaches and attacks of physical weakness, perhaps caused by the trauma of his early years. Since he was the only surviving male member of the Ottoman dynasty, Ibrahim was encouraged by his mother Kösem Sultan to distract himself with harem girls and soon fathered 3 future sultans, Mehmed IV, Suleiman II and Ahmed II. The distractions of the harem allowed Kösem Sultan to gain power and rule in his name. Yet even she fell victim to the sultan's disfavor and left the imperial palace. Ibrahim came under the influence of concubines and favorites such as the charlatan Sinchi Hoca, who pretended to cure the sultan's physical ailments. The latter, along with his allies Saladar Yusuf Aga and Sultan Zada Mehmed Pasha, enriched themselves with bribes and eventually usurped enough power to secure the execution of Grand Vizier Ara Mustafa. Sinchi Hoca became Kadiaska of Anatolia, Yusuf Aga was made Karpudan Pasha and Sultan Zada Mehmed became Grand Vizier. In 1644, Maltese corsairs seized a ship carrying high-status pilgrims to Mecca. The enraged sultan considered the extermination of all Christians in his empire, but under pressure from his ministers the idea was reduced to Roman Catholic priests before being abandoned. Instead, all the Christian ambassadors were placed under house arrest. Since the pirates had docked in Crete, Karpudan Yusuf Pasha encouraged Ibrahim to invade the island. This began a long war with Venice that lasted 24 years. Crete would not completely fall under Ottoman domination until 1669. In spite of the decline of La Serenissima, Venetian ships won victories throughout the Aegean, capturing Tenedos and blockading the Dardanelles. Karpudan Yusuf enjoyed temporary success in conquering Canea, starting a jealous rivalry with the Grand Vizier that led to his execution and the Grand Vizier's deposition. With his cronies in power, Ibrahim's extravagant tendencies went unchecked. He raised 8 concubines to the favored position of Haseki, granting each riches and land. After legally marrying the concubine Teli Haseki, he ordered the palace of Ibrahim Pasha to be carpeted in sable furs and given to her. Deposition and execution. Mass discontent was caused by the Venetian blockade of the Dardanelles, which created scarcities in the capital, and the imposition of heavy taxes during a war economy to pay for Ibrahim's whims. In 1647 the Grand Vizier Saleh Pasha, Qasim Sultan, and the Sihulalim Abdurrahim Effendi unsuccessfully plotted to depose the Sultan and replace him with one of his sons. Saleh Pasha was executed and Qasim Sultan was exiled from the harem. The next year the Janissaries and members of the Ulema revolted. On August 8, 1648, corrupt Grand Vizier Ahmed Pasha was strangled and torn to shreds by an angry mob, gaining the posthumous nickname Hezapeh. On the same day, Ibrahim was seized and imprisoned in Topkapi Palace. Qasim gave consent to her son's fall, saying, "In the end he will leave neither you nor me alive. We will lose control of the government. The whole society is in ruins. Have him removed from the throne immediately." Ibrahim's 6-year-old son Mehmed was made sultan. The new Grand Vizier, Sofi Mehmed Pasha, petitioned the Sheikh al-Islam for a fatwa sanctioning Ibrahim's execution. It was granted, with the message, "If there are 2 caliphs, kill one of them." Qasim also gave her consent. 2 executioners were sent for, one being the chief executioner who served under Ibrahim. As officials watched from a palace window, Ibrahim was strangled on August 18, 1648. His became the second regicide in the history of the Ottoman Empire. There is an apocryphal story that the Sihulalim joined the rebellion because of Ibrahim's fabled decision to drown all 280 members of his harem. But at least one of Ibrahim's concubines survived him. This was Turhan Hattus, who was responsible 3 years later for the execution of Qasim. This story was probably circulated after the coup to further blacken Ibrahim's name. Personal life. Consorts: Turhan Hattus Sultan, daughter of Samilo Tukapsky, a Ukrainian nobleman; Dilasub Sultan, Muatsiz Sultan, Aisha Sultan, Mahianva Sultan, Savika Sultan, Sakbali Sultan, Humazar Sultan. Children: Sultan Mehmed IV, Grand Sultan of Turkey; Sultan Suleiman II, Grand Sultan of Turkey; Sultan Ahmed II, Grand Sultan of Turkey; Seyzade Murad, Seyzade Selim, Seyzade Osman, Seyzade Bayezid, Seyzade Sifhangir, Seyzade Orhan. Mughal Sultan, governor of Tamishvar 1652, master of the horse. She died in 1655. Fatma Sultan, February 1644. Admiral Damid Yusuf Pasha Musahip, M. The 23rd of February 1646, Admiral Damid Fazlullah Fazli Pasha, Vizier, M. The 10th of September 1667, Damid Kizbekçi Koca Yusuf Pasha, Vizier of Silitra 1666, Yanavar 1670, and Erzurum 1671. She died in 1682, having had issue, a daughter, by her second husband, Gevran Sultan. The 23rd of November 1646, Damid Jafar Pasha, Vizier, M. 1660, Admiral Damid Haseki Muhammad Pasha Çavuşoğlu, Governor-General of Diyarbakır and Enderunz, M. 1692, Admiral Damid Halvaci Palabike Yusuf Pasha. She died at Adrianople on 27 October 1694. Kayla Sultana, 3rd Vizier 1649, Governor of Silitra 1654. Bayhan Sultan 1646, Damid Kukuk Hasan Pasha, M. The 21st of September 1647, Damad Hezapara Ahmed Pasha Sara, High Treasurer 1647, 1648, 1649 to 1650 and 1652, Grand Vizier, son of Saife Mustafa, M. 1659, Damad Osman Pasha, Vizier of Diyarbakir 1659 to 1661, M. 1689, Damad Bayklai Bozoklu Mustafa Pasha, 2nd Vizier 1692. She died on 4 March 1701, having had issue, one son by her fourth husband, Atiq Sultan. The 21st of September 1647, Admiral Damad Topal Sari Kainan Pasha, M. 1659, Damad Ismail Pasha, Vizier. She died in 1686. Aise Sultan, Grand Vizier, Bakan Sultan. At one point Ibrahim took a great liking to the infant son of a slave woman, to the extent of preferring the unrelated child to his son Mehmed. Turhan, Mehmed's mother, grew extremely jealous and vented her anger to Ibrahim, who flew into a rage and grabbed Mehmed from Turhan's arms and threw him into a pool. Mehmed would have drowned if a servant had not rescued him. He was left with a permanent scar on his forehead.